Hello, and welcome to this special Year in Review edition of Florida by the Numbers. I'm Sheridan Meek, Senior Research Economist at the Florida Chamber Foundation, and I'd like to take us on a journey through the economic highlights of 2023. In January, the Florida Chamber Foundation released its 2023 economic forecast. As we near the end of the year, let's take a look at how Florida's actual economic activity compared to what we expected. Let's dive in. Florida's economic activity in 2023 aligned with our expectations in most areas, including population growth, workforce availability and participation, GDP, inflation, the housing market, and income migration. Job growth was the only area that panned out smaller than expected, although Florida continued to realize gains month over month. Let's start our year in review by analyzing population. Florida saw another year of rapid population growth in 2023, exceeding our prediction of 350,000 new residents. Florida's population grew by nearly 360,000 new residents over the year. Lee County was the only county to see a decline in population over the year. However, this is only a slight loss compared to the nearly 40,000 the county added over the past 3 years. Considering this recent growth, and the projected 191,000 net new residents by 2030, the decline in this county's population in 2023 is not expected to be a sign of the trends to come. Polk County saw the largest increase in population over the year, with over 26,000 net new residents. Now looking at Florida's workforce. We expected the workforce availability and participation rate to continue to remain a concern, and that Florida's unemployment rate would be below the national level. This was the case in 2023, as the unemployment rate saw the largest difference from the national level in years. Florida's unemployment rate in October, the most recently available data, was 2.8%. Florida's unemployment rate in 2023 has been 1 percentage point lower than the U.S., compared to 0.7% in 2022. This year's low unemployment was also coupled with a high number of open jobs. Currently, for every 100 open jobs, there are 85 Floridians looking for work. This is evidence of a workforce shortage that has been persistent all year, at one point as large as only 61 people for every 100 open jobs. The narrowing of this gap is progress towards balance in the labor market. Diving into GDP, Florida's economy grew as expected, with a GDP growth rate that was double the national level, according to most recent 2023 data. Florida has historically had strong economic growth, with an increase of 18% in GDP over the past 4 years. This rapid economic growth has led to Florida becoming the 14th largest economy in the world if it were a country, up from the previous rank of 16th. As we look towards achieving the Florida 2030 Blueprint mission of becoming a top 10 global economy by 2030, exceeding expectations for economic growth in 2023 is a big step in that direction. Breaking down that growth by industry, the sectors that saw the fastest growth varied at the state and national level. Florida's trade, transportation, and utilities industry grew by 9.1% over the year, the most of any industry. Over the past 4 years, the professional and business services industry increased over 40%, the most over the time period. However, at the national level, it was the information industry that saw the largest increase for both time periods. Heading into 2023, inflation was very high, and we expected it to remain a significant concern for consumers and businesses. This was definitely the case, especially looking at inflation in Florida compared to the rest of the country. Inflation in the southern region of the United States was 3.4%. Zooming in even further, inflation in 2 of Florida's metro areas soared above the rest of the nation. According to the most recent figures from the Consumer Price Index, the Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater area had inflation rates of 5.4%, while the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach area had a 7.4% inflation rate. This was the highest metro area inflation in the entire country. Looking at the beginning of last year to present, there has actually been a cooling in the inflation rate. However, it still remains true that inflation is a big problem in Florida. This is especially evident in the Miami metro area, where housing alone is seeing inflation of nearly 11%, compared to half that at the national level. Even still, the overall slow downward trend in 2023 does mean that we expect to see the pressure of inflation lightening in 2024. One area where the effects of inflation can be gauged is in Florida's consumer sentiment. This measures Floridians' outlook on the economy, and although it was low in 2023, it was up a few points from the record low annual average in 2022. Modest upward movement in Floridians' view of the economy was credited to slowly easing inflation and a resilient labor market throughout the year. So while inflation certainly did remain a big concern for consumers and businesses, we can see that more positive views of the economy are starting to occur, a potentially good sign for the things to come in 2024. Now, let's take a look at the 2023 housing market. As Florida's population grows rapidly, housing is a key part of our economy. We expected Florida's single-family housing market to return to pre-pandemic levels without any erosion in prices. We have met the predicted number of home sales and starts, and as expected, prices have remained steady, even a little higher compared to where they were a year ago. However, overall, the single-family home sales through October of this year, the most recent data we have, are 11.8% below where they were at this point last year. This indicates that we have not seen the housing market return to pre-pandemic levels, likely due to high interest rates. 2023 as a whole has actually seen a steady slowing in the housing market, continuing the downward trend from the year prior. Now let's shift to income migration. We expected new data to show us to yet again be number one in income migration. This proved true as Florida saw $39.2 billion in net income migration over the year. This means there was $4.48 million per hour moving into Florida. This income came from 48 of the 50 states, a quarter of it from New York alone. Not only were we once again ranked number one in the country for net income migration, we were number one by a large margin. Florida's $39.2 billion in net income migration was 3.5 times the net income migration of Texas. As Florida continues to be the best place to live, work, and raise a family, we expect people to continue to move to Florida, bringing their income with them. Lastly, we forecasted another year of strong job growth, predicting over 250,000 jobs added. As of October, which is the most recently available data, the labor market has added almost 162,000 jobs, which is about 46,000 off of the expected pace. Despite smaller than expected job growth, one industry did see rapid growth throughout the year. The education and health services sector saw an increase of over 60,000 jobs, a growth rate of just over 4%. Although we expected over 250,000 new jobs this year, the overall slowing in growth is not a surprise. After recovering to pre-pandemic employment levels in October of 2021, Florida has been adding jobs annually every month, but at a slowing pace. This slowing annual job growth overall is not necessarily a negative indicator for Florida's economy, especially as jobs continue to be added each month, which is proof of a resilient labor market. As we near the end of 2023 and look ahead to 2024, I hope you and your management team are registered for Florida's premier annual economic forecasting event, the virtual 2024 Florida Economic Outlook and Job Solutions Summit, coming up on January 25th. In addition to an exclusive 2024 local and national economic forecast, we will explore topics on every business leader's mind, including Florida's workforce shortage, property insurance crisis, income migration, potential impacts of the 2024 election, and other key factors impacting Florida's economy and the way we live and do business. Be sure to use the promo code HOLIDAY23 for $50 off individual registration through Friday, or save big with our group pass, which allows 10 or more individuals to watch. The FloridaScorecard.org is updated regularly and continues to track the metrics discussed today in addition to hundreds of other state and county metrics. The Florida Scorecard and our team's accompanying research and analysis on these metrics are made possible by the leadership of the Florida Chamber Foundation's Community Development Partners. To stay up to date on the metrics that matter to securing the future of Florida as soon as they are released, there are a couple of ways you can stay connected. Follow @FloridaBTN on Twitter, where updated figures and accompanying analysis are tweeted instantly. Also, be sure to check the FloridaScorecard.org on a regular basis. Updated metrics are added as soon as they are available to help Florida's leaders lead. If you have any questions regarding the topics covered today or the work of the Florida Chamber Foundation, please reach out to me or any member of the Foundation team through the information on the screen. From everyone at the Florida Chamber, thanks for tuning in for this special Year in Review edition of Florida by the Numbers. We hope you have a safe and happy holidays and look forward to bringing you more on the metrics that matter in 2024.